We were never Hispanic. We were never Latino. We were never Latinx, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans. We was none of that. We was never none of that. We was never Tainos. We was never none of that, bro. If you really want to dig deep, if you really want to dig deep, we're the people that the Bible speak of. If you really want to dig deep.
Why do you wish to sail west?
To open a new route to Asia. Asia is the richest kingdom, the land of spices and gold. At the moment, there are only two ways of reaching it. By sea, sailing around the African continent. The journey takes a year. Or by land. But the Turks have closed this route to all Christians. There is a third way. By sailing west across the ocean sea.
The distance is unknown. It's said to be infinite.
Superstition. I believe the Indies are no more than 750 leagues west of the Canary Islands.
How can you be so certain?
The calculations of Toscanelli, Marin de Tir, Esdras.
Esdras is a Jew.
So what's worse?
2 minutes, and already you're a dead man.
For telling the truth?
Yes. They are burning people for less. The men you're about to confront have no emotion.
Columbus knew that the northern kingdom of Israel were already in the Americas. Shalom. Before I get started with this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Double salutations to all you Akim out there laboring, the house of David, the elect, that's pushing his word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom to you, brothers. I'm back at you with another quick lesson through the Holy Spirit, the Rakakwadash. And all you Jakes, you Israelites that are out there that are pushing this false doctrine that all 12 tribes of the nation of Israel are black people, you are wrong. And you don't have the truth. You err in not knowing the scriptures, okay? And you fail to deal with the history and the facts, which we're going to highlight in this lesson, okay? Lord willing, this lesson be edifying. Because the northern kingdom, okay, the house of Israel, which represents you so-called Latinos, Native Americans, all right, Hispanics, Seminole Indians, Taino Indians, Arawak Indians, okay? You are of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, okay? And just like the southern kingdom, okay, the house of Judah, all right, the northern kingdoms, they're subjected under the curses as well. Okay, so once again, there's no denying the facts. All right, it's just true. All right. So with that point being made, getting into this right here, this is out of the Jewish Encyclopedia. Okay, this is from the Small Hats, the 1948ers. All right, dealing with the Northern Kingdom. Okay, the land of Arsareth. All right, so it says Northern Kingdom, Jewish Encyclopedia, Arsareth. It says the name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses until the time of the restoration. According to, which should be 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 45, it says Columbus identified America with this land. All right. And this is why in the video that was played, okay, he mentioned the prophet Ezra. Okay. He knew that the northern kingdom tribes are already over here in this part of the world. Right. It says Columbus identified America with this land, Arsareth. All right. The name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man. Okay. That's the Western world. Okay. It says, and in the citing here, or the citation, it says, see Kaiserling's Christopher Columbus, translated by Dr. C. Gross, page 15. See? So anyway, I want to get into this. I felt like this was a good video. All right, getting into the history and the facts of how the Northern Kingdom came over here to the Americas. All right, Arsareth. It says, lost 10 tribes that sailed to Arsareth, newfound land of the Americas, 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verses 40 through 45. All right, so I'm going to stop and go, make some points, and let's get into it.
Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land.
So let's get into that history real quick. All right, let's read it again. All right, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 40. And it reads, 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 40, it says, these are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanassar the king of Assyria led away captive. All right, and this is King Salmanassar the fifth. When you look up the history, it says, in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanassar the king of Assyria led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land, all right, which would be the land of Assyria, which would be the region of Iraq and Syria. All right, so let's tap into that history real quick. All right, so this is 2nd Kings. Okay, letting you know what happened. All right, on how the Northern Kingdom were taken into captivity by the Assyrians. All right, this is the book of 2nd Kings, chapter 17, and verse 1. It says, Hoshea reigns over Israel. This is 2nd Kings 17 and verse 1. It says, in the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hoshea, the son of Eli, to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord Yahweh Shemawashai, but not as the kings of Israel that were before him. Against him came up Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, and Hoshea became his servant and gave him presents. And the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hoshea, for he had sent messengers to So king of Egypt, and brought no present to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison. Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land, and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years. You see? So this is what happened, all right, to the Northern Kingdom. Okay? The king of Assyria, Shalmaneser the fifth, all right, came up throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years. And it says, in the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria, see, and placed them in Halah and in Habor by the river of Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes. 2 Kings 17 and 7, it says, for so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Lord, Yahweh Shemawashah their power, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had feared other gods. See, this is why Israel fell. Verse 8, and walked in the statutes of the heathen, whom the Lord Yahweh Shemawashah cast out from before the children of Israel, and of the kings of Israel, which they had made. All right, so once again, as it's always been, you know, our people, we fell away from Yahweh Shemawashah by following the ways of the heathen. All right, clinging unto their idols. All right, their customs. Verse 9. It says, and the children of Israel did secretly those things that were not right against the Lord, Yahweh Shemawashah their power, and they built them high places in all their cities, from the tower of the watchman to the fenced city. All right, so this is why we failed. All right, so let's jump down. Just finish it out, get straight to the point. All right, and you can read that history, but let's jump down to verse 18. All right, 2 Kings 17 and 18, it says, therefore, the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai was very angry with Israel and removed them out of his sight. All right, the northern kingdom. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only. Right? Verse 19, 2 Kings 17 and 19, it says, also, Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, their power, but walked in the statutes of Israel, which they made. All right. And we know that that the house of Judah was taken into captivity under the Babylonians, right, for their rebellion as well. Verse 20, it says, and the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai rejected all the seed of Israel and afflicted them and delivered them into the hand of spoilers, the other nations, the heathens, until he had cast them out of his sight. Verse 21, for he had rent Israel from the house of David, all right, going into the split between the northern and the southern kingdom, all right. And they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king, and Jeroboam drave Israel from following the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai and made them sin a great sin. For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did. They departed not from them. The point, 2 Kings 17 and 23, until the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai removed Israel out of his sight, as he has said by all his servants the prophets, so was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day. You see? So this is the history behind that. All right. So let's go back. All right. This is how Israel was uprooted out of the land. This is how they went into captivity under the northern kingdom went into captivity under the Assyrians.
In the time of Hoshea the king, whom Shalmaneser the king of Assyria led away captive, and he carried them over the waters. So came they into another land. But they took this counsel amongst themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen, and go forth into further country, where never mankind dwelt. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood, till they were passed over.
You see, and in the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai, held the flood. He held the waters, which enabled the northern kingdom tribes, all right, to come out of that, they passed through the river Euphrates, all right. They came out of that region over here where the Persian Gulf is, the Indian Ocean, and they were able to come around the Horn of Africa, all right, which we're going to further read the scripture. It tells you that the voyage took 1.5 years, okay?
For through that country there was a great way to go, namely 1.5 years.
And that's what happened. It came out of the Euphrates, out of that Persian Gulf region, around the Indian Ocean, around the Horn of Africa, and the voyage was 1.5 years, all right? And this is how they got to this other side of the world.
And the same region is called Arsareth.
Yep, and the same region is called Arsareth. All right, as we read here in the Jewish Encyclopedia, Arsareth, the name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man. All right, because this part of the world was uninhabited. Okay, far away from the habitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses until the time of the restoration. All right, it says that Columbus identified America with this land. All right, so Columbus, when he came over to the so-called Americas, he knew exactly where he was going, and he knew exactly who was over here. All right, as we saw in the video clip, man. All right.
Arsareth, Newfoundland.
Yeah, the Native Americans, all right, so-called Hispanics, Latinos, all right, you make up the Northern Kingdom, okay? The so-called, lost 10 tribes of Israel, all right? These prophecies are pertaining to you, okay? The evidence is too abundant, man. So pretty much, this is the understanding of how the so-called Native Americans and Latinos, Hispanics got over to this side of the world. This is Bible history. All right. This is the truth. This is the facts. All right. So the point is, well, how did they know, how to get over here? All right. And I want to touch on that real quick because, they knew because they had the knowledge and the records of King Solomon. All right, because the time of King Solomon, when he was ruling, okay, he had a navy. He had a naval fleet, okay, the ships of Tarshish, right? And they were known, all right, Tarshish, they were known as the navigators of the seas, okay? And they would come to the Americas, or Arsareth, if you will, to gather up gold, silver, precious stones, all right, animals, or whatnot, and we're going to read this here, all right? So it says, and it's going to tie it all together, but it says, the title here, it says, did King Solomon's fleets visit America, all right? So let's just make a quick point, all right? I just want to jump down here and read straight to the point here, which I have highlighted. Okay, so it says, in the article below, it is obvious that the Paleo-Hebrew inscriptions that have been found in America derived from the Hebrew-speaking Israelites of the ships of Solomon. All right. It said that ancient Hebrews reach the shores of North and South American continents thousands of years before Christopher Columbus? It says, what evidence is there for Hebrew and Israelite occupation in the Western Hemisphere even 1,000 years before Christ or Yahweh Shai? Was there a transatlantic commerce and travel fairly routine in the days of King Solomon of Israel? Read here the intriguing, fascinating saga of the true discoverers of America, all right? And it says, a stone in a dry creek bed in New Mexico discovered by early settlers in the region is one of the most amazing archaeological discoveries in the Western Hemisphere. It contains engraved on its flank the entire 10 Commandments written in ancient Hebrew script. Hebrew scholars such as Cyrus Gordon of the Brandeis University near Boston have vouched for its authenticity. I visited the site of the huge boulder near Los Lunas, New Mexico in 1973 and photographed the Hebrew inscriptions. The local newspaper reporter guided me to the mysterious site located in the middle of the New Mexico desert. We watched for rattlesnakes as we hiked into the spot where the boulder lies, unmoved in a situ for who knows how many mysterious centuries. Who put it there? Who wrote the incredible inscription of the Ten Commandments in ancient Hebrew dialect, right? So the point that I want to make here, all right, and we're going to get into this article in a second, all right, you won't believe, the title reads, it says, you won't believe where the oldest known carving of the Ten Commandments is found, all right, the Los Lunas stone in New Mexico, right? Now, real quick, all right, let's get the scripture to show you, okay, that Solomon's navy, which they were known, Tarshish, which were known for navigating the seas. All right, they came over here to this land to gather up gold, precious stones, precious animals, and whatnot to bring back to Israel. All right, real quick. Okay, this is Psalm 72:10. It says, "The kings of Tarshish and the owls shall bring presents. The kings of Sheba and Seba shall offer gifts." All right, so they were known for traveling the seas and across the world. Okay. King Solomon had a navy, man. All right. Let's make that point. This is real quick. All right. Bear with me. Let's start at, because the point is, how did they know? Okay. And how did Christopher Columbus know as well, as we just saw? All right. But it all goes back to King Solomon. Okay. So this is First Kings, real quick. Let's start at this is First Kings, and we're gonna start at verse this is First Kings 9:22, and it reads, it says, "But of the children of Israel Solomon made no bondmen, but they were men of war, and his servants and his princes and his captains and rulers of his chariots and his horsemen. These were the chief of the officers that were over Solomon's work, 550, which bare rule over the people that wrought in the work. But Pharaoh's daughter came up out of the city of David unto her house which Solomon had built for her. Then did he build in Millo. And 3 times a year Solomon offered burnt offerings and peace offerings upon the altar which he built unto the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, and he burnt incense upon the altar that was before the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, so he finished the house. And King Solomon made a navy of ships." All right, King Solomon had a navy. Okay, it says King Solomon made a navy of ships in Ezion Gibber, which is beside Eloth, on the shore of the Red Sea in the land of Edom. All right, so he had the seaport, okay, where these ships would go and sail the seas, his naval fleet. Okay, it says, "And Hiram sent in the navy his servants, shipmen that had knowledge of the sea." You see that? So Tarshish, okay, kings of Tarshish or whatever, these Hamites that were under the subjection of Solomon. Right? They had knowledge of the sea. Okay? It says shipmen that had knowledge of the sea with the servants of Solomon. And they came to Ophir and fetched thence gold 420 talents and brought it to King Solomon. All right? So I believe Elder Apostle Tahar, he went into Ophir, how Ophir is tied to America. Okay? So Solomon's servants, his navy, they came over here and they gathered gold, all right, and other precious materials and resources, man. And they brought it back to Solomon, all right? Because remember, they were shipmen that had knowledge of the seas, This is 1 Kings, all right? 1 Kings chapter 10. Okay, 1 Kings chapter 10 and verse 21. Yeah, verse 21. This is 1 Kings chapter 10 and verse 21, straight to the point. And it reads, it says, and all King Solomon's drinking vessels were of gold, and all the vessels of his house, the fours of Lebanon, were of pure gold. None were of silver, it was nothing accounted of in the days of Solomon. For the king had at sea the navy of Tarshish with the navy of Haram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory, and apes and peacocks. So it says once in 3 years. All right. So we understood, going back to the prophecy, all right, which the northern kingdom took to reach the land of Arsareth. It said that what? Where did it say? Bear with me. Okay. Here we go. 2nd Ezra 13 and 45, it says, for through that country there was a great way to go, namely a year and a half. And the same region was called Arsareth. So the reason why it said, let's go back where it said that, it said, reading this again, 1 Kings 10 to 22, it says, for the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish with the navy of Haram once in 3 years. All right. Because it would take a year and a half, all right, to leave, from the Eastern world, okay, over there in the land of Israel. It would take a year and a half to get to Arsareth, the Americas, and it would take a year and a half back. So total, that's 3 years, right? And they had the knowledge of this land. This is how they got over here, man. Okay, it says, verse 23, so King Solomon exceeded all the kings of the earth for riches and for wisdom. All right. So the point that I'm making is that, all right, the northern kingdom, the 10 tribes, they had the knowledge and the records of King Solomon on how to get over here. Right. So that's clear. Lord willing, you could receive that, man. All right. That's plain. So anyway, going back. All right. Oh, just to make this point, yeah. So, because King Solomon, he had a naval fleet. As we read, it says this is 2 Chronicles 8 and 18. It says, and Hiram by his servants sent him ships and servants who knew the sea, and they sent Solomon's servants to Ophir and took from there 450 talents of gold and brought them to King Solomon. Man, so he had that naval fleet, Tarshish and what was it, Haram. All right. So let's go back to the article. Okay. All right. So he had a fleet. Okay. So let's read a little bit more. All right. It says, bear with me. It says, you know what? That was the point. So let's go into the article, Salakia. I just wanted to make sure that I touched all these points here. All right, so let's go into the article. So this is from Israel365news.com. This is another 48er website, small hat website. The title it reads, it says, you won't believe where the oldest known carving of the 10 Commandments is found. Okay. Let's read a little bit. It says, it may surprise many people to learn that the oldest known 10 Commandments written in Hebrew on stone may not be in the Holy Land, but in America. Okay? The controversial carving resides in west of Los Lunas, New Mexico, at the bottom of a place called Hidden Mountain. Named the Los Lunas Decalogue Stone, it is also known as Mystery Stone, quote unquote, Phoenician inscription rock or mystery rock. It contains the text of the 10 Commandments written in ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Lashawan Kodash, right? So the Hebrew Israelites would had to have been already in the Americas for this to happen. Okay, this is plain. All right, the Northern Kingdom. All right, the so-called Latinos. All right, Hispanics, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, Seminole Indians, Native American Indians. All right, they were here. Paleo Hebrew, quote unquote, Paleo Hebrew predates our modern style of Hebrew writing. Ronnie Segal, the academic advisor for eTeacher, an online language academy, explained to Breaking Israel News. This form of Hebrew writing was used for approximately 1,000 years and fell into the disuse around 500 BC. It says the 80-ton boulder on which the writings were carved is so large that it may have been in its present-day location since the time of King Solomon, who ruled from 1014 BC to 974 BC. You see? The more square-like Hebrew script used today came into common use after King Solomon's reign. Continued Segal, quote, since the writing on this stone is in Paleo-Hebrew script, archaeologists surmise that this stone dates back to biblical times. All right, reading a little bit more, it says, during King Solomon's rule, it is known that the Israelites maintained reverence for the Ten Commandments and wrote with Paleo-Hebrew characters the Lashon Kodash. And as the hidden mountain site was accessible by ship in ancient times, it is plausible that the Israelites landed there during their voyages. You see that? Come on, man. It says, King Solomon was an influent and powerful king whose monarchy was marked by many years of peace. He is considered the wisest, the quote, wisest of all men, who ordered sea voyages around the world to satisfy his curiosity about all things near and far. You see that? So, all right, his naval fleet, Tarshish and Hiram, all right, they had the knowledge of the seas. They traveled all over the earth, all right, including Arsareth, the Americas, the land of Ophir, who ordered sea voyages around the world to satisfy his curiosity about all things near and far. In addition, it is possible that the Israelite had been sent to the hidden mountain to find raw materials for King Solomon's vast building projects, which included the building of the first holy temple in Jerusalem. You see, and that's what happened. All right, he sent his fleet over here, all right, his army, to gather up the gold. Right? What did it say? Let me pull it back up. Okay. First Kings 10 and 22. First Kings 10 and 22. Salakia. For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish with the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory, apes, and peacocks. Right? This is what they gathered and brought back to King Solomon in Israel. Okay? His naval fleet traveled the world. Okay? Finishing it out. It says King Solomon also built ships at Ezion Geber, which is near Elath in Edom, on the shore of the Red Sea. And Hiram sent his men, sailors who knew the sea, to serve in the fleet with Solomon's men. 1 Kings 9 and 26. All right. So, man, it's just, you know, the information is just too plain. It's the evidence is just too abundant, man. All right. So the point that I wanted to make in this lesson is that the Northern Kingdom, all right, they were already over here. Okay. The so-called Latinos, Native Americans, Hispanics, all right, they are part of the tribes, man. All right. And how Christopher Columbus knew, all right, he read the book of Esdras, all right, and he also had access to ancient maps. So he knew that the Northern Kingdom were already over here, man. As we read in the Jewish Encyclopedia, all right, Arsareth was identified as the land of America, all right. And when he got over here, he reached the shores of Hispaniola, right? He knew that the Northern Kingdom were already here, all right? Let me get one more scripture. I pray I wasn't too all over the place, right? But that's pretty much the point. All right, let's go to John. Was it the 10th chapter? Bear with me. All right, this is John chapter 10 and verse 16. And it reads, John 10 and 16, it says, and the other sheep I have, which are not of this fold, them also I must bring. All right, the Northern Kingdom, okay, that were already over here in the Americas, Arsareth. And Yahushua came, okay, to the Americas, and he supped, you know, with the Northern Kingdom, Okay, they knew about Yahweh Shai, man. It says, and other sheep I have which are not of this fold, them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there should be one fold and one shepherd, all right? So the bottom line, the northern and southern kingdom coming back together, all right? The northern kingdom are part of the tribes. There's no denying the evidence, okay? The lost 10 tribes that came over here to the land of Arsareth, which is the Americas, all right? Christopher Columbus knew, all right, that the Israelites, the northern kingdom, were already here in the western side of the world, you know? So I pray that this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakakwadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth, and double salutation to all you Akim out there laboring in the house of David. Hey, Shalom.